we're Cousins Car Club. We grew up in this area. When I had this party, I found out I got a lot of old friends 50 years ago, 40 years ago. We haven't seen each other. They all got cars, hot rods, street rods, vets. And some of them came to my party. The next thing you know, I asked them, hey, why don't we start a car club? And they're some of the nicest guys I ever met. That's the first thing. The cars are secondary. But we're trying to push it. We'd like to see our grandkids and our kids get into the car thing. Some of us build cars, some of us buy cars, but we're all into cars. Kept me off drugs. All right, first of all, this is a very special friend of mine. I went to high school with this guy. He was the kid that was raising hell all the time. I was a kid from parochial school. Opposites attract, and I couldn't have found a better friend. And he's got one of the biggest towing companies in the area, and he's going to be modest. He's not going to tell you that, but I think he's got 44 finished cars. And when I knew him in high school, I had all the nice cars, and he didn't. Well, times have changed. He's the same guy. I'm the same guy. I like to bust him once in a while, because most of my cars are in primer. His are like this, all perfect. But you can't find a nicer guy. I don't think he's ever going to retire. But this guy is this guy can drive. When I told you we were raising hell, this is one of the guys, okay? If you want your car to beat somebody, you get him to drive your car. But basically, we mellowed out right now. We're grandfathers. I don't think we race anymore, do we?
Up the exit ramps.
But I'll let him talk about his car. But believe me, he's got 40-something more cars back at his garage at home.
This 32 Ford Highboy was built by a fellow named Dave Manise. This car has been all over the country. It's not a trailer queen. The car is driven to the Nationals in Louisville, Kentucky, Columbus, Ohio, down to Florida. I put it in a trailer and I brought it to the Turkey Run down in Florida. I've been up and down Daytona Beach many times in this car. I've been to other national events with this car. The car does everything right. It's just a super car. It's a nice driver. It's got a 350 Corvette motor in it, turbo 350 automatic transmission, a 9-inch Ford rear end.
So it's got a Ford part?
It's got a Ford part in it.
And is the body a Ford?
The body's a Ford.
Body's a Ford, the rear end's a Ford.
The rear end's a Ford. And the drive line, the engine and the transmission's a Chevrolet. This way here, I can get into the Chevy meets because I got a Chevy motor, and I can get into the Ford meets because I got a Ford car. So I'm not excluded from any of the excludable meets. So that's what makes it fun. Just
to throw one little tidbit in there, in our day, we didn't talk to the Ford guys, okay? They were a word I can't use on this. We didn't talk to them, okay? And isn't it funny? Now, Bob's still got some Chevrolets. I got all Fords, so times change, you know. But we didn't even talk to the Ford guys.
That's the way it was back then. Things were a little bit different, you know. It was always, everything was Ford and Chevy, you know what I mean?
Yes, it was.
You even had the guys who were out there drag racing, and we drag raced every night of the week. We used to hang around at another restaurant down the road over here called the Symposium. But it was a Mount Pleasant driving back then. And we used to drag race every single night of the week. I never got home before 3 o'clock in the morning.
We weren't doing drugs, though, were we?
No, we never did any of that, nor did we understand any of that. Nobody we hung around did any of that. No vandalism, nothing. We just had fun.
Yeah, no
raced our cars. Any free moments we had, we were either working on our cars or making plans to go someplace with the cars. So everything, our life when we were teenagers revolved around our hot rods. Most of the drive-ins we used to attend had the girls was car hops. And we would put the car hop trays in the window and so on and so forth. So
we ate all the greasy food.
Yeah, and
all
we're
the
still
high
here.
Cholesterol.
And we're still here.
We're still eating that stuff, aren't we?
We can keep them running. We're going to be all right. That's why we got the doctor on call here.
This program is brought to you by MenuJoy.com. We show menus, you browse, you decide. And by the Shawmut Diner, where every day breakfast is sunny side up.
This is the first lady in the car club. Her name's Roger and Eileen. And they've been married for how long?
41 years.
41 years. You got the right guy?
41 years playing with cars.
This is the only lady that I know outside of my mom, who's passed away a while ago, that really likes cars. They're very hard to find, but Roger, you found one here.
Yes, I did.
So why don't you tell us just a little bit about this truck? I know it's special to you. It was a surprise. Why don't you tell us
I'll tell you
what
the
happened
story
here?
of the truck. Well, I was looking online for a truck in the 40s, exactly like which are very hard to find. And I happened to see one in Portland, Maine. And my wife noticed it too. And she didn't tell me, but behind my back she was putting bids on it. And all the time I'm seeing the price going up and I'm saying, oh, this will never happen. And then one night she said, let's go for a ride to Portland. I said, okay, we always like to go for rides. So we happened to go where the truck is. And she's standing there and she says, you like that truck? I said, I love the truck. She says, well, here's the keys. This is yours. Happy birthday. I mean, I'll tell you, that was the best birthday.
Happy birthday?
Yeah, happy birthday.
You're a special lady. Here,
Special, very special lady.
All right.
He had one he was working on when we were dating, and one of our first dates, and I was helping him put the transmission in on it, and my mother-in-law came out and said, can't you be a lady and get out from under that truck? So it's kind of like, this was something we started as a teenager. He had to sell it then, got married, moved away. 40 years later, he's got the truck now.
Another one of my buddies here, Butch St. Gelais. Last time I seen him, I was racing his Corvette, and he was racing my Corvette. I think you beat me.
Yeah.
That was all right. It's okay. Well, I'm not a good loser.
That was probably in 1967.
Yeah.
Yep,
And I ain't seen him since.
Yeah.
He's the last two people you had on from Maine, he's their real cousin. He built this car from scratch, so I'll just let him take over. The other thing is he's a former Marine that served his time in Vietnam, and I'm glad he made it back.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a Factory 5 kit out of Wareham, Mass. You got to really assemble every nut, bolt, piece of wiring. You pick what you want for a drivetrain and you install it. You set up your dash the way you'd like it. You make the car so it's comfortable for you to drive. I drove a real one in 1965 and I fell in love with the car. And I just made myself a promise that someday I'd get one. Could never afford the real thing. Those things go for like $250,000. But this is like a $40,000 car, hand put together, solid as a rock, and I'm in love with it. I was so glad when I heard from Bram saying, hey, we're trying to get this car club going. You want to join in? I said, hey, yeah, right away, because this is it. I mean, I got 260 Sunoco in my veins. This is awesome, awesome.
We started Wednesday nights. We pulled into this Cold Stone Creamery across from the Dartmouth Mall, and a guy was looking at our cars. There was only 3 or 4 of us with his son. They were going nuts over it. They followed us into Creamery, and he owns the business. So he asked me if we had any more cars. I says, yeah, we got a few. So the next week we were there with 70 cars. So, and now he gives us free ice cream. It's kind of funny, you know. The guys don't even want free ice cream. They just want to drive their car. But nice people just started a business. Every Wednesday we're there. Every Friday we'll be here.